If you've ever made a shampoo bar, you'll know that the last step is a rather ambiguous age the bars for what can seem like a rather random length of time. I decided I had to know how long shampoo bars actually need to age before they're ready to use. And I also wanted to know if that aging time varied between different types of formulations and different ways of shaping the bars. Stick around to learn why we age shampoo bars, what surprising factors influence how quickly they age, and how long you should age a bar before you use it. Let's go. Before we can get into the experiment, you need to understand why shampoo bars are aged before they're ready to use, when most other formulations like lotions and lip balms are ready to go straight away. Shampoo bars are left to age for the same reason cold processed soap is, so they can dry out. Aging is what takes a bar from a soft, pliable dough or a crumbly, damp mixture to a rock-hard bar that will last a long time once it's in use. Even if a shampoo bar formulation doesn't contain straight water, there will be some found in liquid ingredients like liquid surfactants and liquid hydrolyzed proteins. Cocomidopropylbutane, an amphoteric surfactant I often include in my formulations, contains about 65% water. So if a formulation includes 10% cocomidopropylbutane, that means it also contains about 6.5% water. To start my shampoo bar aging experiment, I made 2 batches of shampoo bars, choosing 2 very different formulations because I wanted to see how different formulation styles impacted drying time. The first is my white chocolate peppermint shampoo bar. It's made with finely powdered sodium cocoyl isethionate, 2 liquid surfactants, and cocoa butter. It contains about 6.3% water, and this formulation starts as a smooth, workable dough that can be hand-shaped, pressed, this beautiful machine is the bath bomb press, or hand smushed into a mold of choice. I did 1 of each with this formulation. The second formulation is my Rhassoul bar. This bar is made with the needle forms of both sodium cocoyl isethionate and sodium cocoa sulfate, plus a generous dose of Rhassoul clay and some cocoa butter. This formulation contains about 3.6 water, so roughly 60% of the water in the smoother bars. This mixture is much more crumbly and chunky than the white chocolate one and needs to be pressed into some sort of a rigid mold. I pressed 3 of these bars using the bath bomb press and 1 by hand using the same mold. This mixture is just way too crumbly to hand shape. I marked each bar with a smudge of a different colored mica so I could easily tell them apart, weighed them, and then weighed them again every 24 hours for 3 weeks to see what happened. The weight of the bar dropping means something, likely water, though it could be some fragrance oil as well, is evaporating off, indicating the bars are drying out. Now, it is important to note that I live somewhere quite dry. When I visit places like Vancouver, Toronto, New York, or London, I find those places to be noticeably humid, even in the winter. So it makes sense that anything, shampoo bars included, and my skin, will dry out faster here than they would in a more humid environment. So if you live somewhere more humid than I do, which doesn't take much, I will share details on how to figure out your drying time later in the video. After 3 weeks of weighing and a bunch of time spent in my spreadsheet graphing my data and turning everything into percentages for easy apples to apples comparisons, here's what I learned. First off, neither bar lost all of its water weight, or anywhere close. And you might be thinking, but Marie, 3 weeks isn't very long. And to that I say, back when I first developed the Rhassoul formulation, I left a bar to dry for 65 days, and it still only lost about 2/3 of its water content in over 2 months. Second, which formulation lost more water? You might think the one with more water weight to lose, the white chocolate bars, would have lost more, but no. The chunkier chocolate Rhassoul bars lost a lot more weight, even though those bars had less water to lose. So they lost about 55% of the original water amount versus 18% for the white chocolate bars. This is because the Rhassoul bars are less uniform and not as densely packed as the white chocolate bars. Third, how did the shaping method impact the drying time? Somewhat unsurprisingly, the more densely the bar was packed, the less water it lost. So all of the white chocolate bars, the ones made from finer powders, lost less water than the chunkier Rhassoul bars. The bar that lost the least water overall was the hand-shaped white chocolate bar, though by a fairly small margin, Well, the bar that lost the most water by a huge margin was the hand-packed Rhassoul bar. The smoother consistency of the white chocolate bars means that formula works really well no matter how you shape them, but I'd say the chunkier bars are best suited if you've got a powerful press. The hand-pressed Rhassoul bar is fine, but it's clearly nowhere near as densely packed as the rest of the bars. So how long do you need to age a shampoo bar? I'd aim for a doubling of the first day weight loss. The white chocolate bars lost an average of 0.25% of their weight in the first 24 hours and then hit 0.51% on day 4. The Rhassoul bars lost an average of 0.54% of their weight in the first 24 hours and hit 1.07% on day 5. After that point, the loss dropped off quite a lot, with most days the loss being below 0.1% of the overall weight. So if you live somewhere similarly dry or you've got a dehumidifier, 4 to 5 days should be fine. If you live somewhere more humid, you can figure out what works for you by tracking the weight of your bars for a while, and whenever the bar has doubled the water loss from the first day, I'd say those bars are ready for prime time. Now that you know how long you need to age a shampoo bar, it's high time you make one. So I recommend this formulation. It's easy to make and awesome. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe and happy making.